just begin then. Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We are here to start a 6-month mentorship journey with our mentees who are from the Kashmiri Pandit community in India. They are aged 18 to 26 and all are based in various parts of India currently. My name is Sunil Dar and I am one of the chief mentors to this program. The name of the program is Moti Basecamp, 6 Steps to the Summit. In the 6 steps, we have divided for mentees are grooming, the art of polishing the CVs, skills to face an interview, generating a business idea, habit formation, including financial planning, reading, writing, and analyzing, and lastly, the public speaking, and finally, the Basecamp Summit Talks, which is planned. The program will be delivered through a regular dialogue and completions with internal mentors and specially invited mentors who are specialists in their fields. This is a CSR initiative by Sun Media Private Limited. Now, without any further ado, may I now invite our chief mentor, Namita Dhar, to welcome the guests and the mentees with the words of inspiration. Over to you, Ms. Namita.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dhar. Your Excellency, Ambassador of Uzbekistan, Professor Johan Berger, Mr. Paras Kher, and my very, very dear and favorite base campers, the best of the lot, who are going to prove me right every step of the way. We are here today because of the following reasons. First, to continue the legacy of my dearest father, Pandit Omkar Nath Moti, who was a strong proponent of education, learning and giving back. This program has been created in his memory and to keep his legacy alive. Second, we at Sun Media have, through years of association with students who have interned with us, impacted many lives positively, and we would like to continue to do so, offering these opportunities worldwide to young students like yourselves. Thirdly, finding all of you the most promising bunch from our Kashmiri Pandit community at the base camp of your lives, we want to share what we know as mentors. We want to impact critical skills that can put you all on a fast track to achieve your goals. Our intention is to provide as much guidance as possible for all of you to scale the summit in your professional life. It is my honor to invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of Uzbekistan to Singapore, who we have had honor of working with and learning from, to give his inaugural speech. Before that, I would like to read his CV briefly. His Excellency has been the Ambassador of Uzbekistan to Singapore since 2018. Before this, he has also represented Uzbekistan as a diplomat in Indonesia and Japan. In 2013, he was assigned the role of Sector Chief, Consolidated Information and Analytical Department, Cabinet of Ministers of the Republic of Uzbekistan, which was followed by a post at the EU Project Management Training Program at the Chamber of Commerce and Industries of the Republic of Uzbekistan as National Coordinator 2017. When he brought to bear his large experience in a position at the Department of Foreign Investment and Implementation of Investment Projects, Joint Stock Company, Ambassador Shakirov is fluent in Russian and English, is married and has 3 children. He has a master's degree in International Economic Relations from Uzbekistan Academy of State and Public Construction. It is my pleasure to call on His Excellency. His presence is of great significance as Kashmir and Uzbekistan has had historical ties. It also highlights how much it is a borderless world. With the ambassador now in Uzbekistan and our mentees in India, the potential for growth and opportunity are really unlimited. Your Excellency, may I request you to inaugurate today's program for the students. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Madam Nomita Dar. And good evening, everyone, and good afternoon. Dear Mr. Sunil Dar, Madam Nomita Dar, Professor Johan Burger, Mr. Paras Her. It gives me a great pleasure to be at the inaugural session on the Moti Basecamp 6 Steps to Summit that is dedicated to the late Pandit Nath Moti, the dear father of Madame Nomita Dar. It is a great initiative that aims to show and sow the seed of learning in youth who are the future of our world, which is always a great asset to invest in. Formal training from institutions, when complemented with live sessions, lessons from mentors, can have far-reaching effects. You as youth who are in the sense at the base camp of your lives, with training in life skills, I'm certain can achieve anything you set out to do once the roadmap clear. You, as the students of today, have the privilege to work in the borderless world as technology has created more options than ever before. The youth of any nation are the most important currency and most cherished assets, and from our lives we can share nothing is impossible once you put your energies in the right direction. Education and now large pace reach dividends not only for individuals but also for nations. For example, one of the success stories of collaboration between Singapore and Uzbekistan is the Management Development Institute of Singapore, or MDIS, whose campus is in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan. Each journey starts with single steps. I hope the Basecamp initiative brings the youth the world clear to opportunities and opens new doors for them within the country and internationally. I am happy to note that the first batch of students selected after 2 months of pre-screening exercise are 9 Pandit Kashmiri students. Congratulations and good luck to you on your climb to success. With this, it is my pleasure to inaugurate the Basecamp initiative, and this help you in creating the best future for yourself. My best wishes to all of you. And taking this opportunity, I would like to also wish all good wishes and luck for everyone here, especially for our youth in 2021. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you very much for your kind words. And I'm sure this will go a long way when they plan their futures. Your example will always be in front of their eyes, and this will really make them work hard. Thank you for this opportunity. And
thank you. Thank you so much.
Very obliged with your presence, sir. Thank you for inauguration.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Moving forward, now it is my pleasure to present to you the students who are with us for last 2 months, and this is their first day in the formal program. And first of all, I will read their names, but then one by one they will introduce themselves. So the names of the students are Akash Paul, Akanksha Thakur, Divanshu Raina, Mayur Paul, Vipul Paul, Shireen Paul, Sukriti, Vivinesh Raina, and Yashika Mantu. So I would like to invite Mr. Akash Paul to introduce himself and let us know about himself. Akash, are you around?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, everyone. Let me welcome all of you to today's inauguration session Moti Basecamp 6 Steps to Summit. First of all, I am very thankful to our esteemed and honorable guests for addressing this inauguration session today. And also, I would like to thanks and congratulate our respected mentors, Mr. Sunil Dhar sir and Ms. Nomita Dhar ma'am, for this great initiative for Kashmiri Pandit youth to reach the pinnacle of our potential through this mentorship program. So now let's begin by introducing myself. I am Akash Kaul and I am basically from Jammu and Kashmir state. I was born and brought up in Jammu city. I am 26 years old and a commerce graduate. Currently, I am associated with Sonalika International Tractors Limited, a tractor manufacturing unit in Nagpur. Here I am working in administration department from last 3 years, and soon I'm going to shift my career in banking sector within this month in some few days in Ludhiana. There are 5 members in my family, including me, my respected grandmother, my father, my mother, and my younger brother. My father is a government official and he works in Central Public Work Department, and my brother works for an IT company in Chandigarh. Music is my passion, and I have received a lot of appreciation and love from all on social media after uploading some Kashmiri songs with my father, and I have performed on several platforms also in last 6 months. So to be very honest, on a professional front, I want to see myself growing in banking sector, as I have pursued postgraduate diploma in banking operations. I also I'm also having experience in working in banking sector earlier. And on personal front, I want to be a well-trained Kashmiri musician and singer, so that I can promote my Kashmiri music, my Kashmiri culture and art. So it's all about me. Once again, I am thanking all of you to be here, to be a part of this inauguration session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Akash. And we look forward to you growing to your fullest potential, becoming a world famous singer, and also doing very well through the course of training at the Basecamp. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And now it is my pleasure to call upon the youngest of our participants, who is very enthusiastic and on the ball, has been spending a lot of times finishing her homework, and we are very proud to have her with us. And she does not let any shortcomings, difficulties come in the way of what she wants to achieve. And I bring to you 18-year-old Akanksha Thakur. Akanksha, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good evening to all the respected dignitaries, mentors, and all members of my Basecamp team. I am very glad to be a part of this program for Kashmiri youth, and I am very fortunate to learn from this. I would like to give my thanks to everyone for giving the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Akanksha Thakur. I was born and raised in a refugee camp, and I am still living there with my family. Last year was emotionally challenging for me due to the unfortunate demise of my father. But I faced all the problems and studied hard and completed my high school education with 95%. There will always remain a void in my heart, but I will make him proud one day. People dream of becoming a lawyer or doctor, but I wanted to be a chartered accountant. Over the past few months, I have started living this dream. It gives me immense joy to follow that. Uh, my parents have always supported my dreams and aspirations. They always teach me to achieve goals by working hard. I will try my best and will work hard for achieving my goals. Every person has different hobbies that give them joy and make them relax. My hobbies are listening to music and reading. Reading is like such a hobby that helped me in learning a lot. Apart from this, I will also like to do some gardening and sketching also. The services of humanity is the best of all services. I would, li- I as a one of my dreams, I would like to pay my community, society, and nation back. That's a little introduction about me. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you so much, Akanksha. It's always a joy to listen to you. And we wish you all the best. And I know you're going to get to the pinnacle of your career with a lot of perseverance and this beautiful smile. We are honored to have you with us. Welcome. Now it is my pleasure to ask Devanshu Raina to give his introduction to the group and to the invited mentors and us all. Devanshu, the floor is yours.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening to all the dignitaries, my mentors, and my dear friends. It's my pleasure to be among you all in this session. My name is Divanshu Rana, and I am computer graduate from Mumbai University. And currently, I am pursuing my master's in bachelor in business administration. So, during my bachelor's in computers, I realized that I am inclined to manager in a good reputed company, and for that, I chose business administration as my major. So, being from a small town, I faced a lot of problems during my bachelor's degree, but that prepared me to tackle any situation. Moving to a big city uh, opened several opportunities for my future, and I got enrolled in the university I dreamt of. So, for my achievements, I am thankful for my family for supporting me throughout thick and thin and every time. Other than my studies, I really like traveling to new places and being in nature. I am also interested in trekking and sports as it makes me happy. And I really feel fortunate and would thank Mr. Sunil and Mrs. Nomita for making me a part of this wonderful program. This opportunity would really help me to grow as a person, gain knowledge, experience, and building relationship with other people. That would sum up about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Devanshu. We wish you all the best for the second stage of your growth, and we are happy you got into our MBA program, which is the college of your choice. And after getting training with us next 6 months, I'm sure you're going to top in that university and you'll make all of us proud. All the best and thanks for your introduction and welcome to Basecamp program. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Mayur Kaur to let everyone know about him and introduce Mayur. Can we have you online
Yes,
for your
ma'am.
introductions?
Thank you,
Mayur.
ma'am. Good evening to all the dignitaries, mentors, and my dear friends. My name is Mayur Kaul. I'm 23 years old, engineering graduate in the field of information technology. And currently, I'm pursuing my master's in business administration in the field of marketing. The reason I'm doing masters in different field is because I remember during my second year of engineering, I was very much interested in various business related activities happening in my college. So that kind of drove my attention in the field, and moreover, this interest helped me in learning how to organize various events at state level. And by pursuing my master's in marketing, I'm looking forward to boost my career to new heights in terms of various other domains like event organizing, etc. And apart from this, I like reading, listening to music, engaging myself into sports, and traveling around with my friends and family. Because I believe all these things should be given equal priority in one's life. And I also believe with a mixture of all these things, I can achieve my goal of doing something for our upcoming generation because I want to help young people by mentoring them towards their goal. Because as far as I have seen, the youngsters between the age group of 18 to 23 don't have the proper guidance or career counseling towards their goal. So I'm very much looking forward to help them in my near future in the best way possible and provide them with every possible opportunity towards their goal. As Mr. Sunil and Ms. Nomita have mentored and given me this opportunity to join this program to excel in my future, and I'm really much looking forward to help others as soon as I stand on my own in front of the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayur. It gives me, my heart swells with joy that you have taken upon yourself to continue this legacy and this is what we are exactly trying to sow. And all the best, and I'm very happy. Congratulations on getting into the master's program, and I have no doubt that you will do extremely well and you'll be useful to the society. Welcome to ON Moti Basecamp 6 Steps to Success.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now it is my joy to ask our bubbly Ritu Kaul, always making us happy and laugh, to introduce herself to all of us. Ritu.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaste and good evening to all the dignitaries present here and my dear friends. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am Ritu Kaul and my age is 20 years old. Currently pursuing 4-year engineering program for Punjab Technical University with a focus on graphic designing. I am a creative person, so to enhance it, I made web page, logos, and also learning animation and editing. Recently, I was a part of a project in which my responsibilities were to handle the creative part of it, in which I worked upon the creation of presentation and web pages. I have also grabbed second position in debate competition among my batchmates. As a human being, we all know that at every stage of life, we learn something. And sometimes, learning makes a huge impact on us. After achieving some heights in my professional career, I want to be a philanthropist so that I could help others too in the same way as I am getting from this mentorship program. I enjoy working with others as a team and have a jolly nature. I love to play badminton, cook, dance, and sing in leisure time. Playing badminton has motivated me to be fit. Cooking has enhanced my creativeness. Dancing and singing helps me to stay calm. I come from a noble nuclear family. We live in Jammu, also known as City of Temples. When I came to know about Basecamp, I was very curious to know what I learned and get from it. Although I am doing engineering, but I think we should also know the basics and necessity of living a life, and I am now ready to face the challenges. Thank you all for listening to me.
Thank you very much, talented Ritu Kaul. You always bring in a whiff of fresh air with all your conversations, and we wish you all the best, and we are very honored to have you on this program, and very pleased to know that you want to be a philanthropist, and we look forward to letting people know we know Ritu Kaul. So we would like to be known through your name and through your work. Welcome again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It is my pleasure to call on Shireen Kaul, who was winner of the first round of PowerPoint presentation competition which we had. Shireen, please let everyone know what you are all about.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this opportunity. A very good evening to our respected guest of honor, our mentors, and my fellow mentees. I hope that everyone is doing well, especially in hard times like these. I'm extremely happy to get this opportunity to express myself at such an enriching platform. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Namita Dhar and Mr. Sunil Dhar for giving us such opportunity to actually increase upon our potential and live up to the fullest levels. My name is Shireen Kaul and I'm a 20-year-old undergraduate student pursuing BA Honours Political Science from University of Delhi. I'm currently into my third year of graduation, which is also my final year, and post that I'm planning to pursue my Masters from either JNU or TU into international politics and international relations. Now, my aim in life is to become an Indian diplomat. One may wonder why I want to become a diplomat and not merely a politician. I want to become a diplomat because I feel that a diplomat has a massive responsibility on his shoulders to actually bond all the nations together. It is a platform wherein people do negotiate, they deliberate, they come together, discuss things, and find solutions to the major world problems. And I want to be a part of such a circle in my near future. I believe that by becoming so, I would not only be able to solve the problems at the global level, but also solve problems from the grassroots level in my very own nation. For doing so, I took my first step last year itself, when I got the opportunity to be an intern at Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment in India. And my profile was to work as a social worker, create reports, and also do the ground research of the slum areas and bring in the problems and solutions to the ministry so that they can take the further action. Now, other than that, what inspired me towards this field of working was primarily my hobbies like debating and also deliberating. I debated a lot in my school time as well as in my college. Particularly, what I do was the Model UN conferences, which are also the simulation of United Nations at a university and a school level. And I've also represented several countries, which include, let's say, Pakistan, India, Ukraine, and many others in such Model UN conferences. And it has not only helped me to increase my critical thinking, but also helped me to increase my overall and to improve my overall personality as a person and understand what a global citizen means to be. Other than that, I also play badminton, and I'm glad to share that I have professionally played badminton at the state level and also have won the runners-up position. But I believe that success is not just about the destination. Success is about its journey more than the destination. And I believe it is our milestones that actually count upon our success altogether. So my immediate milestone is to get into the Masters of International Relations. My next milestone is to actually pursue my MBA from abroad, and particularly in international business, and post that pursue my doctorate. And finally, my end goal is to get into international government organizations such as United Nations or SARC. With this, I would end my introduction. Thank you so much to everyone for hearing me.
Thank you very much, Shireen, and we look forward to having you represent India. And it's a great opportunity for you to start here, where we have Ambassador with us. And so you know who's your role model, and in case you need to take tips from what to do, I think Ambassador will be very happy to share. We'll now call upon Sukriti to introduce her.
Namaste and hello to all the dignitaries present here in front of me. I am profusely overjoyed to present myself in front of such an esteemed personalities. I am very delighted to have His Excellency, the Ambassador for Uzbekistan, and our specially invited mentor, Mr. Jon Berger and Mr. Paris Kher. I really look forward to learn and earn something positive from each one of you today. So, my name is Sukriti. I am basically from Jammu and Kashmir. I am 24 years old. I have done my graduation in sciences and then post-graduation in Sanskrit. The reason that I changed my stream from sciences to Sanskrit is because I really wanted to dig deep into the roots of the language, which is one of the most ancient languages of the world. I really like to know more about it and combine my scientific background with this field to take it further into my life. Although currently I am working in a digital media company as a social media manager, social media analyst, I have been working here for almost about 4 months, and I have learned social media management, and I have improved my writing and communication skills, and it has taught me how to do teamwork properly and excel my leadership skills. In return, I have also given my full commitment and enthusiasm to the organization, and I always work in the direction of upliftment and progress of the organization. Now, talking about my further goals, I really want to take my core stream, my core interest, Sanskrit language, into my near future goal. And I really want to be a Sanskrit scholar, researcher, and perhaps my experience in writing and social media management would help me to do that. I really want to spread knowledge of Sanskrit all across the globe. Now, apart from that, I am a yoga practitioner. I do perform yoga. It keeps my mind calm and peaceful. And also, I'm a certified Indian classical dancer. I perform dance in my free time, and I sing. I like to sing also. I think these activities keep your life stress-free and balanced. And moving further and talking about this program, Basecamp 2020, it has really helped me to build my future. It has really uplifted my personality, personally as well as professionally. And it has really, I have to admit it, that it has made me channelize my future properly, how to focus on my future. I would really like to thank my mentors, Ms. Nomita and Mr. Sunil Dhar, for giving me such a big opportunity, and also the fellow base campers for giving me support every time. Once again, I'm really overwhelmed to have such big personalities in front of me. Thank you so much, His Excellency, and especially invited members. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Sukriti. You are such a bundle of talent. We are very honored to have you. And I always feel that Sanskrit is such an important language and such an important legacy of what we Indians have inherited. And for young people like you to take it up and take it further, it is really heartening. It's really good. And we wish you all the best. And welcome to the Basecamp initiative. And we look forward to your full participation and growing and glowing in all aspects of your life. Thank you, Sukriti. Now, I would like to call upon Vinivesh, and I must not fail to say that this initiative would not have taken place if it was not for Vinivesh. So what happened is I wanted to start a scholarship in the name of my late father, and through some contacts I reached Vinivesh, and I told him, could you identify some Kashmiri children who I could help with a scholarship in my dad's name? So he told me, he says, ma'am, there are many people who give us money. We don't want money. Why don't you give us your time? Give us your time, show us the direction, mentor us. That will be useful. Nobody has come to do that for. And that touched my heart. And besides that, he also held my hand in finding these students at every step of the way. He is almost a junior mentor, but it is only fair that he gets this chance to compete with rest of his peers. So he's almost like a mentor, but I would say that he is a mentee because I think we want him to go through this experience. Very grateful to you, Vinivesh, for your foresight. And now that is my homage to you. Now I want you to say a few words about yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. It was very emotional and overwhelming for me. A nice introduction from your end. Namaste, everyone, and Salam. His Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, Professor Johan Berger, Mr. Paras Kher, and my dear mentors, Mr. Sunil Dhar, Ms. Nomita Dhar, and my dear friends present in this session. My name is Vinivesh Raina. I am an engineering graduate in the field of electronics and telecommunication. And currently I am an IT engineer by profession. I'm working in one of the topmost companies in the world, Accenture, at present in Mumbai. I belong to that community which has always kept its head high and shoulders broadened by following the means of knowledge, learning and contributing the same for the nation's development, even though going from a difficult phase of one of the most and consecutive genocides in the history. I was born in a refugee camp in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and I still stay there with my parents. However, even after facing many hardships in my life, while living in those camps, I managed to become an engineer by profession. Following the path of my ancestors and the community itself, I worked hard and smart to be a skilled and result-oriented professional, having knowledge in multiple domains, I have always been uh, interested to seek position in innovation, resolving problems, and brainstorming discussions in my current organization as well. I have always tried to be successful in intense, demanding, and challenging environments, providing a healthy, cheerful, and decisive and team collaboration and structure, with a track record of motivating and developing soldiers within. Going by my hobbies, I'm not only a martial artist, I'm a painter, a volleyball and table tennis player who loves to listen multilingual songs and create digital music, with having a keen interest in the ancient astrology. My current aim in life is to become an inventor by doing my doctorate in the field of data science and other related technologies. That's all about me. Thank you for having me, and I welcome you all.
Thank you so much, Vinivesh, and we wish you all the best. We are very fortunate to have you in this program, and we hope and wish that you excel in everything you aspire to do. Welcome to Basecamp. It is my pleasure to call upon our very dear Yashika Mantu, who is all about chemistry. She has been very good at passing on her homework and doing all the assigned tasks. And she has made a special mark in all our hearts. And leaving it at that, let her say what she wants to say. Yashika.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, esteemed guests, mentors, and fellow mentees. Firstly, I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this session and to introduce myself. I'm Yashika. I'm 21-year-old chemistry graduate from University of Delhi, India. Along with my degree, I completed a 12-week course in analytical chemistry. This helped me enhance my knowledge because it stands out as a practically versatile, useful, and important field. Being from a family where my father was in military engineering services and my mother a homemaker, chemistry was new to me. The curiosity hyped by doing small experiments at home, having a good academic interest, and also I feel much of our daily lives are dependent on chemical analysis. Therefore, I chose chemistry as my major subject. I have a research-oriented mindset, and to pursue that, I am currently doing my post-graduation in chemistry. Apart from my studies, my hobbies are to read novels and listening music, which works as a stress buster. I also love watching cricket in my free time. I aspire one day to become a research chemist and give my contributions in different fields of medicine, chemical, and improving our environment. When I came across Basecamp, I accepted it with open arms, and I thank Mr. Sunil and Ms. Nomita for this great opportunity. Through Basecamp, I aspire to improve my skills and performance in areas of career and personal growth. Also, I'm very excited to learn and share my hobbies, experiences, and my subject knowledge with others, and to have the chance to see some glimpses into my future career path through this program. Being from a chemistry background, I would lastly like to say that I think like a proton and try to stay positive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Yashika, for that. Chemistry was my weakest subject. And if I can look into your eyes, I feel I passed in my chemistry exam also. So it is an absolute personal honor for me to have you on this program, because the nightmares I get about failing chemistry, I think those will stop after I know you a bit better. So wishing you all the best, and it is our absolute pleasure to welcome you on board Moti Basecamp 6 Steps to Summit. The next 6 months, we will be together, climbing one step at a time and having you improve yourselves in all spheres of your life. Welcome. Now, everybody, this is the end of introductions by the chosen students. Now, it is my absolute pleasure to invite a very dear friend and my mentor, Mr. Johan Berger, who is an Mr. Berger. Can I have him on the screen?
Am I not on the screen?
Yeah, now I do see you. No, next to me. So I have had the honor of working with Mr. Berger for maybe 5 to 6 years. He was in Singapore, and he is my mentor. So it is my absolute pleasure to have him here, because now I'm following his legacy and mentoring all of you. So I think you have to be proud of me. Uh, Mr. Berger. So before I pass the stage to you, I would like to read a little bio of my very dear mentor. So Johann Berger is the Business Development Manager for Executive Education at the College of Business and Economics at the UA University in Abu Dhabi. So we have him with us today from Abu Dhabi. The former director of NTU SBF Center for African Studies and senior lecturer in international business at the Nanyang Business School in Singapore, had also previously served as a director of international programs at the University of Stellenbosch Business School, USB, South Africa, where he taught strategic management, general management, and financial analysis to MBA students and business executives. He was a research associate at the Institute of Future Studies at USB, where he still does environmental scans regularly. His research interests include business models, emerging markets, growth opportunities, and Africa. He has an MBA from the University of Stellenbosch, three honors degrees, military history, strategic studies, and business administration, and a bachelor's in military science. Oh my God, that's a lot of degrees. I have been discussing all of you with Mr. Berger, and today he is going to talk to you about pushing your own boundaries. And so over to you. We will have around 20-25 minutes of him talking to you. And then in the meanwhile, you can keep your questions ready. And following him, then we'll have Paras Khair, who is from our community, a shining star. And I want him to share his success story with all of you. We all share the same blood lineage, and so we must hold each other's hands with foreign help and shine the brightest. Mr. Berger, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Namita. Your Excellency, Sunil, Namita, ladies and gentlemen, it really is a privilege and an honor for me to address this group of young people at the start of their careers. I would first like to please allow me to congratulate Namita and Sunil with this wonderful initiative. Giving back is something which too few people realize is not only an obligation, a duty, but a privilege. And I stand in awe of what you are willing and prepared to do to give back to society, given what you have received through hard work. Nothing has come your way for free. I have a saying in that irrespective of your religion, God anoints sweat, and he has anointed yours, and you are passing that, you're paying forward. And I take my hat off to that. And thank you for the honor and privilege of inviting me to address a topic that is quite close to my heart. Investigating your environment and understanding yourself in order to better utilize the opportunities that come your way is becoming increasingly important. Nothing in life is certain. As we can see now with the current circumstances with COVID-19 limiting our actions worldwide. A year ago, this day, we would have thought nothing of what we're going to do in the coming months. I had wonderful plans. Going back to my country, seeing my kids, going back to my home, nothing came of that. And it's changed the world's economy. It has impoverished people, it's empowering nations. So nothing is certain. But at the same time, in these times, I've seen someone like Elon Musk of Tesla becoming the world's richest person for about 2 weeks. I've seen him overtake Jeff Bezos of Amazon, which is another very wealthy person. Another person we can see is Bill Gates of Microsoft and Steve Jobs. We have Jack Ma of Alibaba. We have the founder of Facebook, founder of Google, WhatsApp, etc. And the question that I have for you as the mentees is, what do these people have in common? And I would like to hear what you think, other than the fact that they are filthy, stinking rich. What do you think these people have in common?
Vinesh, you want to get everybody in a setting where
Anybody would like to answer? I have no problem with whom. I can have a one-way talk. I can talk for a week if you give me the time, but you will fall asleep. So if you can come back and say, Johan, I think the following, I would appreciate that.
Well, I think one thing common in them was hard work and smart work.
I like that. Hard work and smart work. And not just hard work, but smart work. I like. Good. What else?
Can I try?
Please.
Yeah, I think one more thing which was common in them was curiosity and the will to never stop. Because the moment they stop, or the moment the curiosity to do or invent something else dies, the entire idea of growing dies.
Spot on. I'm going to, if others can give me just 1 second. I like that answer so much. Not stopping, because the world is in dynamic equilibrium. When you stop, you don't stand still. You go behind, you fall back. Okay, so a wonderful point. Thank you so much. Right, what else?
I think yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, I feel that they were competitive and they have a never giving up attitude. That's
Competitive, endurance, I like. Don't give up. Great. I think there was another one of the ladies. Was it you?
Yeah. So the first thing I wish is getting out of your comfort zone. That's the first and foremost thing.
I like. It links up with my talk of tonight. Pushing their boundaries, not being comfortable with what is facing me at this stage of the game. And that is something which old people have not learned. People in terms of, a mature stage of their life, they look at where they are and they say, well, this is the bubble in which I live. Why sort of rock the boat? And these people did not take that for granted, and they were constantly pushing their boundaries. They're actually an excellent example of that which I would like to talk about tonight. What I also said, I think I will go on, but otherwise it's going to be a bit late tonight. They did not start as rich people. I also made the point they did not accept the status quo, their current circumstances, and they were constantly pushing for new ideas, looking of new ways of doing things. I can tell you, Elon Musk is a South African. Had he stayed in South Africa, he would have been a common garden variety South African who was sort of getting up in the morning, going to work. Why? Because he owes money to the bank and he needs to pay his bond, etc., etc. He didn't take that. He went ahead. And so we can see the same thing for Bill Gates. He started off in his parents' garage. I sometimes wondered they should find entrepreneurs that actually, sell garages. Now, you will tell me, Johan, come on, be realistic. How many Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma, and Elon Musk are there going around? Take Jack Ma. This guy couldn't speak proper English. As a matter of fact, he still taught English in China, but, they wasn't allowed at universities. But we do not need to be them, to be like them and still achieve success. If we understand what makes them drive, and you have actually now pointed out to me what makes them people that are, are performing and what they have in common. It is important, my view, is that we realize we are not prisoners or victims of our own circumstances. This will only be true if you allow it to be true. And the very fact that you are in this course tells me that you are embracing something more, something which will allow you to destroy the boundaries which confine you. You will always get challenges in your life you will need to deal with. However, how you deal with these challenges will determine where you end up in life. Whether you're going to be a Bill Gates, Jack Ma, or wherever, Steve Jobs, or whether you're going to be that common garden variety person, which is the bottom end of the totem pole, which we need. Make no problem. But in terms of performance, in terms of scale, in terms of achievement, If you have the potential, you must strive to be more than that. And this is what I really want to talk to you tonight. I want you to investigate and reflect on your worldview, how you make sense of what is around you, as this is eventually important as to how you see things happening around you, how you make sense of them. It affects your values, your culture, your personal, your organizational culture, and which in turn impacts your actions. The ambassador said something tonight which I really like a lot also. He made the point, nothing is impossible. And that is very much true. Adidas, you all know Adidas, as a logo or a saying, what do you want to call it? Impossible is nothing. They switched the words around. Now, a friend of mine, Gavin Cowley, famous South African sportsman, he was the marketing director for Adidas in South Africa. When he heard this the first time, he thought in his ignorance, he would help the Germans with their English. And when he told them, guys, come on, it's not impossible as nothing. The saying says nothing is impossible. They told him, no, what we mean is exactly that. Impossible is nothing. It is meaningless, provided you have the right mindset. Then nothing becomes impossible should you believe impossible is nothing, and should you act accordingly. Now, entrepreneurs for me are people that grab this mindset, that push their boundaries, as we can see from all those people that we've mentioned and named at the top. And they have a couple of problems, unfortunately, that face them. How do you see, as people either aspiring to become already in that field, how do you see problems entrepreneurs face? And again, this is me asking you. Takers. Going? What are the problems that face entrepreneurs?
Okay, can I give it a try?
Please.
So I think the first problem as an entrepreneur I would, or any person would face, would be to understand the sense of the market or the correct target market which we are aiming at. Because until unless you don't know what your market wants or what your people want, not just treating them as customers, but as somebody who you're not just selling a product, but entire value along with it, right? So the moment you understand what they want, only then can you develop upon it.
Okay. You know, that's a very important point. I always say it is easier to find a product for a market than it is to find a market for a product. But then you need to know who your market is. So knowledge of market is frequently for your single entrepreneur, for your young entrepreneur, can be somewhat of a challenge. I agree. Other takers?
Well, I think the biggest challenge, be it entrepreneur or any person in his life, is his own laziness.
Indeed, it's much easier to sit in a chair, nice, have a cup of coffee, look out of the window and say, you know, workers for suckers, have a cup of coffee. Laziness. And unfortunately, you are uncomfortably too close to the truth. Yeah, it can be a very real problem. What else, ladies and gents?
Hiring employees and team building.
Say that again.
Hiring employees and team building.
Hiring
employees.
Hiring. Oh, sorry. Yes, hiring employees
and team building.
And making sure that there's team function. Indeed, getting your organization up and running, getting them. I nearly get that one away. But and then putting them together as a cohesive team. I can agree with that. Any more? Devanshu, you're big on my screen. Do you have to say anything?
Sir, I'm thinking.
Good.
How to be more innovative than others. I think how to be more innovative than others.
Indeed. Do I have a product that actually will serve the market better? I'm comfortable with that. Okay. What I had in addition to that, banks tend to be unwilling to lend money to them. Okay. Business frequently also have to justify the profits they make. And it sort of say people, right, I don't want to be there. For the entrepreneur, the lack or the difficulty rather of competing against larger or companies, and then also a lack of knowledge, as one of you have already said. Now, factors working in favor of entrepreneurs, on the other hand, and yeah, I wanted to ask you what they are, but how I see them, the world of today has changed radically to the benefit of the entrepreneur, of the small entity. And that is the role of technology, and more specifically of digital technology. It has enabled the individual to compete against large organizations. One of you, I forget which one, works for Accenture. Am I right?
Yes.
Vinavesh, you. Yeah. And the days are gone where the big guys have the sole say. If you look at financial products, I can, as an individual, and more specifically today with something like Bitcoin and the underlying technology, I can do a lot as an individual. So the world is changing, enabling me, empowering me as the individual. Okay, which sort of helps me a lot as far as that is concerned. And what we're also seeing is that governments are becoming more aware that small and medium enterprises and entrepreneurs are important job creators. Okay, they create employment opportunities. They provide wealth for their employees, relative though it might be. And so governments are becoming more increasingly aware of this and are encouraging, specifically in developing countries, such as in the African continent and elsewhere in the subcontinent, they are encouraging individuals to become entrepreneurs. Now, it is true, many of the limitations companies and individuals today are facing are cyclical by nature, and that the pendulum will always return to normal. Things turn out to be sort of even out over a period of time. However, you cannot wait for that to happen. You must become the master of your own destiny and then seize the opportunities that come your way. Now, one of the gurus a few years ago, and he's still sort of seen in the US as one of the gurus there, is a guy by the name of Tom Peters. Now, Tom had a bit of advice in a book that he wrote in the mid-80s called Liberation Management. Now, you would say, Johan, mid-80s, I wasn't even born then. Right, I was. So the book, however, the lessons that is brought out are still valid for today. And he had a couple of points that he made to students and to workers. And what he said to students, and a couple of you are students, is that education is the only key to success, and that it does not stop with the large degree or certificate that you obtain, and that being a student is a lifelong process. He says, do not laugh. Maybe before I ask that, I should ask you, who are the nerds amongst you? Who consider yourself to be nerds? You know what a nerd is?
No one.
Are you know what a nerd is?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Who of you consider yourself to be nerds? People that are studious, that study, that kind of thing. None of you?
I.
Vinavesh, you?
Yes.
Right. Now, what did Tom Peters say? He said, do not laugh at the nerds in your class. One day, you will be working for them. I recently thought about the tough guys at school and at college, university. Where are they today? They've disappeared along the road. These are people that are now either jobless or in jail or outcast or whatever. The mean guys at school and at college, etc. They've disappeared. Okay? It always reminds me about, when I think about this, some of you might have known a guy with the name of Clint Eastwood. He made movies called Dirty Harry. He was this cop, Dirty Harry. And he was this mean guy, and he was beating up this crook one day, and the guy was laughing at him, and he said, why are you laughing? He says, well, I've got this mean friend, And he's going to rock up just now, and then he's going to assault you, and you're going to be sorry that you've been beating up on me. And Clint Eastwood didn't worry, and he kept on beating up this crook. And the crook's friend did rock up. He arrived there, he made the mistake of taking out his handgun. Dirty Harry subsequently took out his handgun, shot the crook, who lay dead in the corner, bleeding all over the carpet. So Dirty Harry then looked at the guy that he had been beating up. He said, if he's so bloody good, why is he so bloody dead? Okay? So you need to look back at all these guys that it's cool, that were the mean guys, the guys that sort of said, I'm the person that counts. Where are they today? However, it is not only education, to come back to the more serious part, that is important. There's another very important element that Tom Peters highlights, and that is the issue of networking. People achieve success in life are people that have large networks everywhere in society. Nomita Dar, for me, is an excellent example. Sorry, Nomita, that I use you here as an example like this. But if I want to speak to the president of Singapore, who do you think will I contact? I will go to Nomita. Why? Because I know Nomita has connection with the president of Singapore. If I want to speak to the diplomatic corps of Singapore, who do I go to? Go to Nomita. If I want contacts with the senior executives in many of Singapore's large corporates, I go to Nomita. But it's not only at that level, you can get contacts to the whole hierarchy of society with Nomita. She is successful because of this, okay? So networking, extremely important. Develop a passion for life and do that for which you can be excited about. You students, most of you, the reality is that if you're a mediocre, a sort of an average lecturer, but you're passionate about your field, students will forgive you a lot. They have a high regard, a lot of appreciation for lecturers that have a passion for the fields of knowledge. One seldom finds that an enthusiastic person makes a stuff up of his or her job. The market in general wants individuals to be excited about what they do. You also had some advice to workers by Tom Peters. He says, accept risk. He said the greatest risk is not to take risk and get caught up in your own very small post box. One of you, Vinivesh, referred to people are too lazy. I don't want to take risk. If I go out, I do things, I can be wrong. I can waste money. The reality is the biggest risk is by not accepting the risk and setting yourself up to do something. Okay? That's the reality. And remember, there's a movement away. Lifetime employment was important when I was young. Parents would look at us and say, listen, you get yourself a job and you stay there. It's important. A rolling stone gathers no moss. That was a very important saying. Today, it has become lifetime employability. If you stick to a job, for a single job for 20, 30, 40 years, people, the youngsters now ask you, what's wrong with you? Why can't you find another job? What is wrong in your skill set? So you've got to develop yourself to meet this requirement. So you need to have those skills in hand in order to move from the one job to the other. I always say that if somebody fires you, you can't control that. However, on the other hand, if you're not able to find another job thereafter, it was your problem, because then you did not skill yourself to such an extent that you can move ahead. And if one company cannot use you, another one should be able to. And it's your responsibility to make sure that you will be in such a position. You guys have heard all about William Shakespeare, I hope.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. William Shakespeare, very good friend of mine.
Mine too.
Not because I'm so old, but because I like some of his lessons. He wrote specifically for entrepreneurs. Way back. People don't realize it, but that's exactly what he did. You know the book Hamlet?
Yes.
No, Hamlet.
Yes, we do.
Who was Hamlet's girlfriend?
I don't remember, but
Another
I'm
girl,
not
huh?
ready.
Some other girl, right? Her name was Ophelia,
Yes.
right? Ophelia had a father. Lo and behold, might say it's strange, but she really did. Her father's name was Polonius. Now, Polonius worked for the king as his chief of staff. The king at that stage of the game, you'll remember, was Hamlet's uncle. Hamlet was telling everybody that wanted to hear, also those who didn't, that his uncle had killed his father, married his mother, and stole his throne. Now, you can imagine poor Polonius. His daughter is dating a guy that's bad-mouthing his boss. In today's world, that would be career limiting. At that stage of the game, it was life limiting. You can lose your head physically. So when Polonius one day saw his daughter chat to a guy, he asked her, who's that guy? And she said, oh, it's a friend of Hamlet. And Polonius had his chance. And he said, listen, tell me, what do you think of Hamlet? Now, what do you think she told him? Daddy, he's the love of my life. I'm going to marry him, have his babies, and live happily ever after. She probably looked at him, you think I'm stupid? So she said, Daddy, I don't know. What should I think of Hamlet? And what did the Polonius say? What would you have said as a father? You were, my dear, you're going to marry the guy. What do you think of him? Do you love him? Do you think he's honorable in his intentions? Can he look after you? You know, the typical questions. What does his balance sheet look like? What did Polonius tell his daughter? My girl, shut up, sit still. I will tell you exactly what to think of my friend Hamlet. And then he tells her, in no uncertain terms, this guy's a bloody loser. And. Now, what do we learn from that? What do you think? What are the issues at play here?
I think to some extent, both of them have to bluff each other. Yeah, because technically, yeah, bluffing is a part of the game. So I think if she did not tell her father directly that she loves Hamlet per se, then perhaps she was bluffing for a reason.
Yeah, the reason is clear. She knows her father doesn't like him.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Meantime, get away. Just go away. Please, go away. That's the kind of attitude. Yeah, okay, I can live with that. What else?
In my opinion, she was trying to be clever.
Okay. By professing ignorance? To see how will dad interpret this? Yeah. What's he going to do? Let me see. They've shown his real colors, which is
then I will show my.
Made it very clear. I don't like this bloody guy. Get away from him. Okay, what else? Let me tell you, time is running on. I'm running out of time. Namita's giving me an eagle eye. We unfortunately see this too frequently in real life, still today. Scholars, students, employees, managers want a well-known environment. I can remember asking my MBA students, asking my undergrad students, the most difficult question of everything. I don't ask them, tell me the 4 P's of marketing. I ask them, what do you think we should do in this situation? And then they think, Al, what do I do if I'm thinking wrong? What answer does he want? What answer does he want to hear? What happens when I'm wrong? So we want to know what my teacher, my professor, my boss wants to say. And when I know, I'm happy because then there's a certainty. I must tell you, when I was undergrad studies, I was we call them, I was not teacher's pet, I was a hard worker because I was a major in the military. So I studied hard. And my undergrad studies, I did quite well. And on my second honors degree, in strategic studies, the first assignment I got was to give a crit on a book, which I did. I got all the critiques of this book from everywhere, and I put together this amazing composition. And I'm thinking 80% plus, the minimum. Professor sent back, you see, you want a wonderful composition of all the known theories or the critiques of this book, 53%. for team effort. I said, I didn't ask this, I asked you your opinion. He taught me and forced me to think. And this is what we're afraid of. On the other hand, unfortunately, our teachers, professors, and managers are frequently like Polonius. They profess to know everything and abuse their position of power to protect themselves against inquisitive students, employees, and junior managers. Somebody like, who was it? Sharon, who says critical thinking is important. Poloniuses of the world don't like employees, don't like subordinates who think critically, think for themselves. So what do we learn from this? The challenge, ladies and gentlemen, is that we need to break the restrictive and limiting world of Polonius. And we need to empower the Ophelias of the world. And if you're the Ophelia, whether you're male or female, you need to break out of this limiting, this constraining world you find yourself in. But the world then is frequently anti-entrepreneurs. Give you an example. When do you think was the TV invented?
1980s or something?
It's 1900, in the start of 1900, I guess 1908, something like that.
The editor of the Daily Express in London, he told one of his subordinates in 1925, go down to reception and get rid of a lunatic who's down there. He says he's got a machine for seeing by wireless. Watch him. He may have a razor on him. This was in 1925.
Wow.
This is what he thought. Harry Warner, the creator of Warner Brothers, made movies, etc. In 1927, he says, who in the hell wants to hear actors talk? Thomas J. Watson, chairman of IBM Computers, today it's by China. What's the brand? Levanto, no? What's the Chinese computer brand? I forget, doesn't matter.
Lenovo.
Which one?
Lenovo.
That one. Right. In 1943, Thomas J. Watson said, I think there's a world market for about 5 computers. Ken Olsen, the president of Digital Equipment in 1977, he said, there's no reason for any individual to have a computer in their home. So one wonders as to what they were thinking. I'm going to touch upon 2 other things. Another well-known author, American, should not hold a grudge against him. He's dead in any case, I think, at this stage. Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, people frequently reject an idea just because it is theirs. The typical Ophelian, eh? Just to see later on someone else taking this idea and making something big of it. He says, we frequently reject this, and the highest merit we ascribe to truly great people is that they did not speak what others thought, but what they thought. So people frequently have this wonderful idea, and then they reject it. Why? Because who am I? I'm a nobody. This idea of mine must be useless. And then later on they say, wait a minute, somebody else took this idea and made something big of it. And then, we actually look at it, we don't really think about it, and we just pass on. So, well, karma, it's meant to be. What is important is that we need to speak today what we think today in hard words. And tomorrow we speak what tomorrow thinks in hard words again, even though it might contradict everything you said today. And then he makes the point, so you shall be misunderstood. He says Pythagoras was misunderstood. Socrates, Jesus, Luther, Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, and every pure and wise spirit that ever took flesh. The Prophet Muhammad, the Buddha, and so we can go on. All were misunderstood. He says to be a great entrepreneur is to be misunderstood. I want to end off by a guy, Spencer Johnson. He wrote a book, Who Moved My Cheese? Who have you read Who Moved My Cheese? None of you. It's an easy read.
Very thin book.
It's a very thin book. It's going to cost you a price of a beer, packet of cigarettes, 2 or 3 cool drinks, something like that. India, books are cheap. I'm astonished. So buy yourself this book. It's an old book, but every lesson in that is still worthwhile and is still relevant. First of all, he says, cheese you want in life, whether it is a piece of good work, a good relationship with a loved one, money or possessions, health, or a fantastic religious life. He says the maze in which mice work is where you look for that which you want, whether it is at home, the workplace, or the sport field. And he crystallized a number of life philosophies. First thing he says, change happens. They keep moving the cheese. It is never tomorrow where it today is. And the day after tomorrow, it's not where it was tomorrow. So you're going to be constantly aware of what's happening around you. So if you sit on your butt in your TV room, watch TV, drink coffee, have a smoke, look out of the window, you're not going to know where the cheese is and where they keep on moving it. Okay? Elon Musk is successful precisely because of the fact that he knows where the cheese is moving to. The same thing for Jeff Bezos from Amazon. The same thing for Jack Ma from Alibaba. Okay? You need to understand where the cheese is moving towards. So the second point linked to that is to anticipate the change. Get ready for the cheese to move. Okay? Do not wait until it's moved and then act. Realize the trends, understand the trends, see where it's moving towards, and then you got to be ready so that when it does move into that direction, you are there, ready and able and willing to tap into this opportunity. It's a monitor change. Smell the cheese so often you know when it's getting old. One can make the point to say, no, old cheese is actually at its best. But not always. There's a difference between mature cheese and old cheese. Ask the guys, were the people, the Finnish people that made these first smartphones, the first mobile phones? Finland, mobile phone.
Nokia.
Nokia. Nokia had the world's market in their hand. They were bragging. They were the guys that moved from forestry into mobile phones, and they made a killing. And in 2006, my good friend, what's his name? Apple, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs came out Apple with the first smartphone. And these guys say, smartphone? Come on, be realistic. What are the chances? They never realized their old feature phones had become old. And they kept on with their old business model. The cheese moved without them realizing it. And where's Nokia today? I think some other larger organization bought them. They're a non-entity, let's be honest. Sorry for the Finns. They're probably doing a lot of psychological counseling. That isn't the part of the nature of the country. But they did not realize that the cheese had become old. You need to adapt to change quickly. Do not procrastinate. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. Do not reward failure. If it's time to close down and move on, you close down and you move on. You get onto the new bandwagon. Okay? When you're sitting with missing the boat risk, that you sort of snooze, like the Nokias of the world, you've got to let go of what you're busy with and climb on to where the new successes are. And then you've got to change. You must move with the cheese. Talking about it is not going to do it. Planning for it is not going to do it. You have to act. You have to move. And then you must enjoy it. You're going to savor the adventure and enjoy the taste of your new cheese. The fresh, mature cheese. Okay? Not the old, stale cheese. And reality is, ladies and gentlemen, then you need to be ready to change again. Because the cheese will move. Rule number 1 or rule number 2. No, rule number 1. Change happens. So whatever is worth today, tomorrow, it's not going to be there. And then you must wake up for where it's happening. Now, A.J. Cronin wrote a short poem there. He says, life is no straight and easy corridor along which we travel free and unhampered, but a maze of passages through which we must seek our way, lost and confused, now and again checked in a blind alley. But always, if we have faith, God will open a door for us, not perhaps one that we ourselves would ever have thought of, but one that will ultimately prove good for us. Okay? And that's the important point that I made in the beginning. God anoints sweat. Again, sitting on your chair, looking out of the window, waiting for anointment, it ain't going to happen. Please allow me to wish you all the best with your careers ahead of you. Embrace every day and live life to its fullest. If you will not do it for yourself, no one else will. And that will be a tragedy. However, the fact that you are on this course, that you've embraced this opportunity, tells me you will not be part of this victim group. Stay well and stay safe. All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Johan. I think you've left them richer, and they know now they have to act. They have to get the cheese moving, and I'm sure they'll make you proud when you come for the graduation and when you also mentor them for the business part of the course. I'm sure with their ability, their hard work, they'll prove themselves to all of us, and we'll be proud. Thank you so much for your time, because your time is very valuable. Your lessons are invaluable, and your friendship is priceless. We value you in our lives, and I'm so grateful that you spend your time and your knowledge and your learning with these wonderful children who are extension of our family, and we just wish them to leave a legacy of positivity and shine all the way. Thank you. And children, if you have any questions, we have a little bit more time for this session.
10 minutes.
Right, 10 minutes. So while you jot down your questions, in between, you write down, and then I'll go from one person. I'll start with Shireen, and rest of all, you get ready. In the meanwhile, I also want to show my utmost gratitude to Syed Jafar Al-Kaf, who has been instrumental in designing all the materials so far. And a lot of your certificates, everything that comes out of Sun Media is Jafar's work, and he has been a silent operator. He is the king of Sun Media, who does everything to the best of his ability and brings absolute joy on board. So my gratitude to Jafar for being part of Sun Media, for being such a wonderful resource, and it's my honor to have you with me. And now, you know, he's still in office. And then, of course, our Mr. Manjeet Singh, Melbourne, and he's been with us for forever, like 27 years or so, and he's our webmaster, and he is the master of our hearts as well. He's like my brother. He's pursuing PhD in artificial intelligence. Is it? I thought it should be coming. Intelligence, Johan, intelligence is not something that comes to him naturally. So I thought artificial intelligence would be a good thing for him.
Okay, I'm impressed with that view.
So all of you who are interested in technology, Manjeet is the man to go. He owns a couple of companies as well, and he's really good at what he does. Thank you very much. So are you ready for your questions? We have it's 10. What's the time now?
11 minutes, 18. Actually, we only have 2, but you can steal 5.
All right, Shireen, do you have a question for Mr. Berger?
Yes, ma'am, I do have.
Yes, go ahead.
Please.
Thank you so much. Professor Berger, I have a question for you. My question is, in your speech you talked about the fact that world is somehow becoming in favor of, to some extent, the budding entrepreneurs, right? But my question to you is, then how about the big shot companies which are already existent in the market and which are well off in the first place, who kind of sabotage that technology factor as well, leaving these young, or let's say budding entrepreneurs aside? So like the outreach part of these young entrepreneurs, they struggle at that. So how can that problem be solved?
Yeah, the only way that it can be solved is where governments adopt policies to favor the youth, to favor women as well, because they tend to be the victims of an environment where entrepreneurs are suppressed. Especially youth, I'm talking people between 15 and 25, and then women. They should actually be kept apart because they are not one group, but they are typically mentioned together. So governments should do this. And what I am seeing is that in Africa, amongst others, I'm former director of the Center for African Studies, so I do a lot of research on that. You find countries such as governments as in Tanzania, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Ghana, South Africa, etc., where they do adopt policies to support entrepreneurs and where they're actively encouraged. Is enough being done? No. Can more be done? We need to, we must, because this is where jobs are created. This is where, governments are not able to create and stimulate the formal economy to the extent that it needs to be done. It is the entrepreneur, it's the small and the medium enterprise which need to be created. Canada is another country where the entrepreneur is actively supported. The Danes teach you how to teach entrepreneurship because they understand how important this is. In spite of the fact that your typical Dane is not, you don't get poor Danes. You don't get poor people, I'm talking about locals, poor Scandinavians. You get rich Scandinavians and you get less rich Scandinavians. In spite of that, they adopt policies to support entrepreneurship. Unfortunately, in many other countries, that is not the case. Technology, as I've mentioned, does help. Now, it evens the playing field. Stevens, what's the guy's name? Who wrote The World is Flat?
The World is Stephen.
Somebody wrote a book, The World is Flat. The World is Flat. I'm going to tell you now who it is. The World is Flat. Thomas Friedman. Right. Thomas Friedman wrote the book, The World is Flat, where he showed how technology is evening out the playing field, is enabling the individual to compete against large organizations, where an individual can trade futures, options, currencies, bonds, that kind of thing, as an individual, and doesn't need to be a large corporate and can actively then work with them. E-commerce, you can work as an individual, and so we can go on. Is enough being done? I want to repeat and say no, more needs to be done. But that is typically what we need to look at. It is government's role to actually put in place this. And from a corporate social responsibility, large corporates should realize they have a social responsibility to help the smaller companies. And
thank you. Now we are almost now it's time for the next session, but I would like Vinivesh to thank Professor Berger for his talk, and after that we'll move to the next speaker.
Well, it was really very educational speech by him. I thought I was sitting in a proper class in my college days when teachers used to train me in the field of research, and I have no words to express my gratitude to you for sparing your time for we students, and I hope in future as well you will remain in touch with us all and guide throughout our life.
Thank you. It's my privilege. Thank you, Vinivesh.
Thank you.
Johan, would you like to give them a little homework to do? I like to make their lives a bit miserable as I go along.
Yes. Based on what I've said, if you could write me half a page as to what you will do differently to push your boundaries and not be a victim of your circumstances. Practically. Half a page. Understand what I want? Oh.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And we look forward to having you back with us, teaching them the business skills and making them real entrepreneurs. Thank you very much. My gratitude from the bottom of my heart. And thank you all for listening intently. And this is going to be a life-changing moment in your lives. And I know it is going to be. The change has begun. Now I have to move on to my very favorite next part of the session, which is our success story. The title for this talk is I Too Was There Once. So I have to share a little anecdote of how I know Paras. So I had gone for a book launch. The two very famous writers were in a library, and I had not seen Paras before, and I didn't even know he was a Kashmiri. So I gave him my phone and I said, can you help me take a photo? So he very gladly agreed to. And then he told me he knows me. And I was shocked. I said, how do you know me? He says, and then he said, I hope you don't mind, but I've been stalking you.
That's right.
So he said, you know, you are from the community and you're doing this work, that work. And that was like, I was so thrilled that people his age have taken notice of my work. And then after that, I stopped taking notice of my work and I started stalking him. Paras, I will read to you what he has been doing, and then I will give the floor to him. So, Mr. Paras Kher is an assistant vice president at Credit Suisse. Paras is based in Singapore currently. He has 10 years of experience spanning risk in banking, analytics, and project management. He has been associated with Credit Suisse for the past 8 years. Paras is passionate about innovation, design thinking, product development, sustainability, and digitization. He is an avid reader. He founded Credit Suisse Book Club, which operates in more than a dozen Credit Suisse offices with 1,600 members globally. And kudos to him for that. I'm like so super impressed. I have requested him to open a small group for Kashmiris also. And he started one for us. And for the first meeting, we were 4 of us. And most of the talking he and I did. But it's a good start. And in his free time, he likes to visit libraries, travel and play with his 2 daughters. And he's an excellent father. So, Paras, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So,
inspire your own. We all have the same blood lineage. Inspire your young brothers and sisters.
thank you so much. I just quickly wanted to check if I can share a presentation and if given the opportunity.
Access to share the presentation?
Yeah, it's already there. You
you can.
So can all of you see the screen? Please?
Yes.
All right, so I prepared this quickly, but before I share what I want to share today, I want to share this story with all of you today. In United States in 2011, NASA decided to launch a space rover going for Mars. And to name the rover, they held a public competition that what we should be naming the rover. Any ideas what they named eventually, and what the winning entry, what was the winning entry? Any guesses?
We can Google it.
Okay, but in interest of the time, the Mars rover, which was launched in 2011, was called as Curiosity. And I find it very fascinating, this subject of sending a probe into the unknown world, and so rightly being termed as curiosity. And that is what life is all about. That is what my journey would be all about. That, you know, how curious I have been to the environment around me and what is my journey. And but before I begin, I really want to thank His Excellency
Ambassador of Uzbekistan, Professor Johan Berger, the Dhar family, Sun Media, and my dear mentees. A very good warm evening to all of you. Why I picked up this example of Curiosity on the Mars rover is not only because of the naming of it, but also an analogy which I personally feel, so much attached to is whenever a space vehicle is launched, within the first couple of minutes, it will burn 95% of the fuel it would carry throughout the lifetime. Now, this is so interesting when we are pursuing anything new. When we are pursuing a new skill, we are pursuing a new domain, we burn out in the initial 5 minutes, and it's the 6th minute when we are across the stratosphere, when the gravity would be less and we will move smooth. But it's the initial time when most of the fuel needs to be burnt, and also it's the initial time in itself that most people will give up. So in life, whenever you are facing that something is getting hard, just tell it to yourself that it's just for 5 minutes, and after that 5 minutes, you'll be in the stratosphere, you will be in the vacuum, and there will be less and less resistance to your pursuit of excellence. And I will like to have this bilateral conversation, not having a unilateral flow of ideas. So I would like to ask all of you would have learned this skill of riding a bicycle. If would anyone would like to share what the experience was in the first day or the second day or the first week, when you try to learn a bicycle, how to ride a bicycle?
Well, in my case, the very first thing was to balance it.
Yeah. So were you able to do it on your first try?
No, of course not.
All right. So why I picked up this particular example of learning to ride a bicycle is because whichever skill you're going to pursue, you have dreams. Excellent audience here today. Some of you are pursuing banking, political science, design, politics, Sanskrit. Fascinating subjects. And in the pursuit of your path, you would be picking up new skills. You would be trying to learning and riding a new bicycle every time. And do remember this thing, that in the beginning, all of us are bad. It's just that we have to sustain for that initial 5 minutes. After that, once we learn that skill, like Vinish just said that, in the beginning, he was trying to balance, and it was so hard. When you're on the road, you see that everyone is going to run you over. But after a point in time, you're comfortable with it. And even after 10 years, if someone asks you, can you ride a bicycle, you can comfortably do so, because that muscle learning is already there. So these are very interesting and fascinating points on how, whenever you're pursuing a new skill on your path to excellence, how to everyone faces these things. And this is across the biggest entrepreneurs to someone who is excellent, who is doing excellent work in the corporates. Everyone is bad in the beginning. You have to pursue in the first 5 minutes. Now, Professor Johan mentioned a very nice point about Nokia and BlackBerry and how they were extinct. And I absolutely, being in corporate, this is one of my core inclination towards to study how big corporates fail. Do they not have intelligent people? I mean, Nokia definitely would have, top shot MBA school graduates in there. Did they not think of this technology? What happened there? So if you want to, pursue this idea that what happened there, there is an excellent book written by Mr. late Christian Clayton, the Harvard professor. He wrote this book called as Innovator's Dilemma. So what he explains it to you, I'll give it to you as a gift. You don't have to go through the entire book. The idea is that whatever builds you in life will break you only if you are attached to it. So for Nokia, their mobile phones and their Symbian platform, for BlackBerry, that having that oval shaped thumb device, they thought that, the customers love it. They're never going to fail, because they were so sincerely listening to customers that when the new idea of having an Android platform or having a technology where you can share apps, they did not overlook to it. and they kept on listening to their existing customer, and when the customer base changed entirely, they were not able to cope up. So like Professor Johan Berger rightly said that, you have to keep a tap on the trends, what is going out there, you have to do that. So with that, I will quickly come to what my story is, and how I got to where I am today. And it's not a story of success, but I'm very humbled that Mrs. Nomita Dharji asked me to share with all of you. I think this is because of a human connection also, what the story which we have a common background on. So I was born in Srinagar, and I did most of my schooling in Jammu. Like most of you, I come from a lower middle class family. We used to live in a one room house or apartment, or whatever you want to call it as. In the beginning, exactly when the migration happened, before that we were a joint family, and we used to all share our meal together. Everyone would eat together. Very nice family. But immediately after the migration thing, just to give you a picture of what was happening out there, we would have, because we fled the valley in a single ambassador car with only limited supplies. So when we reached there, a family who used to love eating together would now take turns to eat, because we just had one utensil with us. That is the bottom line where we all grow from. None of us, especially my family, had an opportunity to go back and get things and do stuff for that. Whatever we did, whatever we built was from what we had. And my father and my grandfather, a huge inspiration to me, always would said that Kashmiri Pandits have only one skill, and that is the power of pen. So always keep that thing with you. It is most advanced technology you will ever come across is the power of a pen. So, and the power of the knowledge, which personifies that thing. So, but that does not mean that I was a brilliant student through in this to begin with. I had a burst of excellences, how I refer to it as. That was primarily because I was not very clear what I wanted to do in life, but nevertheless my dad was very persistent of this idea that I can do well. So it was his blessings and encouragement that I was eventually able to do a little bit better. So I scored first in my 10th standard. I will go on to score first in my 12th standard also, and then I went on to pursue my engineering from Pune. But before that, something happened, because I was not very sure of what I wanted to do in life. So my dad decided for me that I have to do an engineering, and that also I have to do it from Pune. So this is a very important lesson which I further learned down the line in my life, that if you are not deciding, someone else will decide it for you. And please note this particular point, that either when you are in a relationship, or you're in an organization, or you are a person who is on the path of excellence, if you are not deciding, someone else will decide, but the decision has to be made. So better it be your decision. So you go ahead and be proactive and making decisions in your life. But what happened after that was I started my graduation. So I think I was in the top 10 in my first year of college, when all the engineering students are grouped together, and eventually ranking second in the final examination of the ENTC department. So that is but Pune, where I did my engineering, I think it was a place where the average age was student, right? 20 years, 18 years would be the average of age of all the people there. So just to highlight the prospects the city had to offer, it is a Oxford of the East. It has a lot of universities, college, but on the other hand, it is also, because it invites so many young people, young crowd, it has a the negative downward spiral of life, right? It is not that only everything has something positive to offer, but it had negative things also to offer. But what I'm trying to say there, that after I would finish my college at around 2 to 3 p.m., I would immediately go back to my room, get my refreshments, and immediately head back to the library, which I have had a long life relationship with. I love libraries around the world. That's where I met Nomita ji also, because I was exploring around the libraries and the book clubs around the world. So I would immediately head back to the library, because I had this idea that I have to excel in my life, and that sharp focus diligently to have excellence, my focus did not deter to other things which the city had to offer. Just to give you a real scenario of how things are in life. So that happened during graduation, and immediately after graduation, because being one of the in a being one of the good students, I got placed in an engineering company called as KPIT Cummins. When I went there, it was a batch where 250 students from all over Maharashtra and all other parts of India had come together, and we were put into a batch program like all of you are today. That you're learning something. They will teach you for 2 months, and then after that the assessment will happen, and we will be allocated project. So in that itself, I was so serious about the whole engagement of my first job that I stood second in the entire assessment, and I was given one of the most revenue-driven program in the organization. And why am I sharing these bits and points is just to highlight this point that success does not happen in one big bang. It will happen in small, trinklets throughout your course of life. Someday maybe you become a prime minister of of an organization or a country, but during that path also you would have a lineup of successes, a lineup of choices, and lineup of good people supporting you. So that happened, but I was in my job, but something was not feeling right, because this decision to pursue engineering in the first place was not mine. So I always wanted to pursue economics, and had been keeping a tab on the latest development of what's happening in the world. And at that point in time, subprime mortgage crisis happened in United States, which had ripple effect on the economy and the financial markets across the world. So for me, it was super interesting to know about what these products are, how these special purpose vehicles work in financial terminology, what we call them as. And it got me interested to it. So I thought, let me pursue this MBA dream, which most Indians have. But in my pursuit of this thing, I actually encountered failure. I was not able to get an admission into the the top Indian Institute of Management. It was a bit of a setback for me personally. But how they say it in life, that you have to knock several doors for eventually where you want to be. So you are at point B. There is a point B. The shortest distance between the two would be a straight line, but that does not mean that that is the only path between the two. You can have curves around and eventually reach the point B. So I thought that why don't I take a curved path towards it? So I called up all my friends who were into Indian Institute of Management and asked them, I'm interested in finance. What are they teaching you? So they gave me a list of books. They teach you in finance for the first year and the second year. I spent the next 6 months going through religiously through these books, and that is where my love towards books started. And at the end of it, I was able to comfortably price an option product, which in finance term is one of the complex things to do. And this was one of the questions which was eventually asked to me when I applied for Credit Suisse. So after I did all my background and learning stuff part, I started applying to it. In the beginning, it was not so well received. A couple of banks said that you don't fit into the frame. You don't have an MBA in finance, or you don't have a CA, or you don't have something related to finance. How are you going to pursue it? So it was a convincing bit on my part. And then I went to Credit Suisse. I think they were very entrepreneurial spirit. They asked me questions. They did not, they were not holding back in terms of asking the interview questions. So they did. They asked me everything from a bell curve to, what a special purpose vehicle is, and how you construct one, how do you price bonds, all the finance terms. I don't want to go specifically into that. But they were very impressed by the breadth of knowledge which I was bringing into the table, but they still were skeptical. So they kept me on hold for 2 months, and they eventually gave me the offer in 2012. when I joined their Pune offices, and I think it was exciting. Once I came into the Credit Suisse organization, I came to know that the team I was joining actually had 7 open positions, and I got one, and the other 6 were all from different IITs across the India. And I asked my boss, and eventually who became a very good friend, that why me? And because you were hiring all these fantastic people from, and they were fantastic indeed, that and why me? And he said that you are the most enthusiastic individual and energy person who was bringing into the table, and you were so excited that I wanted to give you a chance. And rightly so, I proved him right. uh, Immediately after I was in, I was very serious about my role and the responsibilities. I would take on extra projects, because in the beginning I had to prove myself that I'm competing with such a niche crowd of engineers. And I think I became successful in that. People would say no to some projects, and I would say yes to them, even though I had to work on weekends for that particular thing. But I had a dream and I had a vision in my mind that I want to excel in banking. Um, and I pursued that dream. And saying yes to all these different projects actually gave me, an option to meet my mentor. I had one of the projects which were not actually aligned to me, but to someone else, said no to but eventually came to me, and I said yes. And in that program, which was driven by Switzerland, I had this opportunity to meet a very wonderful, nice person who eventually became my mentor, and is so for today also. So I've been in this mentorship program for almost 6 years now with my Swiss mentor. And everything I know about corporate, how to deal with people, how to deal with especially difficult people, how to approach difficult conversations, how to plan your career, how to look for something else, how to knock these different doors, has all come out of the relationship I have with my mentor. So I acknowledge Nomita ji and Sunil ji and the Sun Media family for organizing this beautiful program for all of you. And you must acknowledge what all can be extracted from this for your personal growth. So I think the opportunity is fantastic. So from my educational journey, like I said in summary, if you don't decide, someone else will be deciding for you. But you have to be in that path of excellence, and read as much as you can, and join Toastmasters if you want to. So I just, in view of the time, I want to cover more stuff. So before I went into banking, immediately at that point in time, I also had an opportunity to go to United States of America. My boss said, why don't you, and that was 2012. He said, why don't you, apply for visa and go eventually. And because at that point in time, Credit Suisse had already happened for me. So I said no to that, because it was very far away from my family. I would have probably been disconnected. United States and India are diagonally opposite. And plus, one more important thing was that I did not wanted to pursue my career in engineering, in that particular space. So that was my choice, which I made, retrospecting to the choice which I did not make at the time of my graduation. So this is what I choose, right? This is the banking is what I chose, and I'm very happy about it. And it eventually brought to me to Singapore. And when Singapore was happening for me, like I said, always knock on several opportunities at once. Don't put all your eggs in the one basket, kind of a thing. There was a parallel opportunity for a AAA country also happening at that point in time, but I chose Singapore because it was very near to India, and the vibrant multiculture which Singapore offers, and also it was the head of Asia Pacific headquarters for Credit Suisse. So that is what happened. And in this journey, like Nomita ji said, I founded a Credit Suisse book club, which has had excellent response throughout the organization. Next month, actually, we will be completing 5 years of the book club, meaning that one book every month, reading in total of 60 books in a line and never missing one month. is something which is my message eventually, that to persevere. And in throughout this journey of book club, it did not happen that these 1600 credit staff showed up the first day. In the beginning it was only 4 members, 5 members, and I remember by the end of first year we had like 25, 28 members, and then from onwards it exponentially grew to what a huge base we have today. But in nutshell, my message has to be concise, and I will take 2 more minutes before I give it back. Is the 4 aspects for growth in my view is: first is knowledge. Knowledge, broad bandwidth is that you definitely know the scope of what you know right now. For example, if someone said that they are pursuing BA in political sciences, they know that what political science is, and they know that that they don't know about, say for example, masters in finance. So this is very clear definition of what I know and what I don't know. But there is also a 75% of the pie chart which says that I don't know what I don't know. So this is where you need to send your Mars Curiosity rover into these domains of what you don't know, that how things can be done differently, how you can pursue different things differently. So that is the path of this knowledge. The second important aspect which I consider for growth is network. Mr. Jon Berger also said that it's an excellent tool for me personally, and rightly so. The example he gave for Nomita ji is an excellent one. People, success in life is people you meet and what you do together. And always remember that you're not alone in the journey of excellence. You will meet people, partner with them, and grow something big. And a typical example would be a startup idea if you have, and to have 100% of zero is much less than to have 5% of $1 million, right? So in partnership with you, if you bring something big, and having 5% of it and being rich is super than having 100% of zero, right? So that is important. Persevere. I mean, I cannot be a less fan of what perseverance means. In life, you will that is the planet we are on. You will have setbacks. It was not easy for me when I came to Singapore. It was a cultural shock to me, honestly. uh, uh, and it was not easy for me when I went to engineering. There were so many different people, interesting people, competitive people. It was not easy when in the first job. It was not easy for me to take a shift to Singapore, but still I persevere. And rightly so. In this picture, this one man running where no one is there. He's running in a desert, is what life will look like. In the beginning, you just have to run alone for people to follow, and trust me, they will follow, and it will happen. And the fourth part of growth story, what I want you to take back today, is the resilience. This is one of the, Nomita ji mentioned this kosher book club, which we recently started. We read this book, Ikigai, and in Japanese, there's this proverb called as fall 7, rise 8. What it means that, and the 2021 meme of it is that fall 20 and rise 21, that we fall in 20 but we will rise in 21. And every time you fall, you have to get up, in terms of for yourself, for your idea, for your family and your society. Because if you will not, someone else will be deciding for you, if you will not decide, right? So I think in interest of the time, I will end my presentation here, and I would like to invite questions and feedback, and something interesting which you guys had to ask me.
Thank you very much, Paras, and everyone, all the mentees. He is closer to your age than us. We look like over the hill. So I'm sure you can take cognizance of what he has said and incorporate these things in your lives. Make decisions yourselves. Let you be the person who decides, and also persevere. Read, read and broaden your horizons of knowledge, and do things collectively. These are beautiful takeaways, and let at least one of these ideas sit into your DNA today, and then you will see a huge change in your own results and what you want to do. and never feel, how do you say it, discouraged by something you are not able to achieve. Because as he said, small successes can really add up to make a big success. So obviously now, if you have questions, I will ask Virvanshu to ask a question. Javja bete.
Ma'am, my question is how can one manage all these things like moving to other city where he's actually totally new to the city? Like sir chose Singapore to be the city which he wanted to go. So how did he manage between the people where he didn't even know their language and all their lifestyle?
So let me answer that. First of all, how did I envision Singapore? I will break it into two. How did I envision Singapore, and what happened before Singapore and after Singapore? Okay. So I think it is very interesting. In my team, I was very plugged in, like, Mr. John Berger said rightly, that you have to watch for the trends, what's happening around you. It's not only you in the organization, it is other people also, what they are doing in the organization. So a lot of people in my organization, they were taking this, excellent option of, pitching their ideas to different projects across the world. And why not, if you can do, I mean, remember this thing in life, which I live by, is that they will not see your CV. They will not see what things you have done in past. The only question which matters is, can you do the current job or not? And after you have done the current job, can you do the next job or not? And that is why I have been brought into Singapore, is that for me, I think I can just do the job. I get the job done. That is what my philosophy is. If I have to study for it, I will study. If I have to, reach out to people, network, I will do it. I will do whatever it takes to get that knowledge and get going. So coming back to the question that, a lot of people were taking this opportunity to grow into United States, pursue an MBA, go into other parts of the world where it was not as competitive as Indian Institute of Management. But I think the price tag was significant, right? I mean, it was as big as buying a house and living a comfortable life. So I was like, is it really necessary? What was happening eventually at the end of it, and from my study of it, was that it you were giving $75,000 or $100,000 for actually getting you a pitch to the employer, or it by paying $100,000 you are actually making your way towards these corporates. And for me, like I said, knock several doors. It is not like the only way. There are several other ways to do it. So that's what I did, and that's what other people were also doing in the organization, that they were pitching their ideas to different people, and eventually doing there. So for me, I was doing this risk management thing, and I actually excelled in it. I did something very significant for the bank, which is called a scenario space. What it means is that, what if COVID happens, an impact on the numbers? What if tomorrow a flood happens and an impact on the numbers? So I was excelling that. So they asked me to come to Singapore to develop that for the team here. For me, honestly, in the beginning, I thought it is a piece of cake, because I was mostly dealing or working with people from Europe or United States who were upfront, and I did not had a lot of exposure with Asia, to be honest, even though I was working with India. I was working from India, but when I came here, it was entirely different. For me, I'm a big fan of culture now. To understand culture is a big thing. Whenever you do remember this thing, that whenever you're going to a different country or even a different state, because India is so multicultural, you have to understand the culture of the land. What honesty means for you may not mean for the other person. For example, no, I will not give an example, but for what excellence means, what quality of work means, will be completely different from you for the other person. People here said that smart working, hard working, but what does hard working mean for you, and what does hard working mean for the other people? So that is the reality of it. And you learn by experience, actually being in there. And second is by talking to people who are already there. So when I came here, I immediately, because I had this book club network, I pinged people and asked them. I went on lunches with them and I asked them, people who had similar experiences. So for example, if you want to do a startup, the first thing you should do is talk to people who have done startups. So that's what I did. Spoke to people who have actually transitioned from India to Singapore and how their experiences was. So one of the tips they gave me is that never be online after office hours, because when they see the green spot there, they see that you are very competitive and it could backlash on you. So for me, it was like, okay. And then the second tip was that Singaporeans love makan, they love their lunch breaks. You don't bring your own lunch, you have to eat with the team, right? And I think that was a huge plus for me to understand the culture more. Food is important. I mean, being Kashmiri Pandits, food is important for us. We know how significant it is. So, you have to connect with people on that. So that, build the bridge for me and help me to transition to the culture. And recently someone in my team, some Singaporean said that, oh, you are one of us. And then for me, that was a cultural transition, or say achievement for me personally. I said, okay, now I have reached where I wanted to be in terms of, my work has been stable. Culturally, I'm accepted. So it's a thumbs up. So, but yeah, you learn by experience, by trial and error, and you learn by speaking with people who have had a similar background.
Thank you very much. Akanksha, would you like to ask him something?
No, ma'am.
How about you, Yashika?
Okay, so I have a question for Mr. Paris. So
Yeah.
you said that you changed from engineering to banking. So
Yes,
what were the
thank you.
aspect you learned from engineering that you used in banking?
One of the things which they teach you in engineering is, so in engineering, we have 8 semesters spanned across 4 years, so 6 months, and every semester would have 5 books. And at the end of every semester, by the time I reached 3rd year, it was like, if I've gone on a break and you put in a mechanical engineering book in front of me, I will just go through it, right? And the thing is that the persistent to read things, to actually grasp concepts which are not simple, right? That was, I think, the biggest take which engineering brought to me. And the second was mathematics. My course had 3 advanced level of mathematics. In Pune we call as M1, M2, and M3. Fantastic. Even though the real life scenario may not be, you might not be applying 3 degree of integration to what you're trying to do in life, but that idea to pursue complex ideas, right? That, I think, that was very interesting for me. And yeah, in general, I think it is, I think one of the points which I wanted to mention, and thank you for asking this question, because it brought me to that, was do what you are doing in the present. So for example, someone said that they are into administration in a tractor organization, because you have to do that eventually when you transition into banking. So that is very important. You cannot neglect what you are doing right now, because if you neglect what you're doing right now, it will neglect you back, and then it's not going to help you. So you have to pursue whatever you are pursuing to do eventually what you want to do. So from engineering, what I learned was, being in that domain. I think for me, one of the things which I learned from engineering was that I was not in my comfort zone of my home. In Kashmiri people are very crazy about their kids. We pamper our kids, and I, being a young parent myself, I am first-hand knowledge of this thing. But going out of the home was a big thing for me because I've been pampered throughout my life. But it actually helped me, because now no one was overshadowing me, and I was making decisions for my own life. So in engineering, I made a lot of decisions of my own, including whom I'm going to marry and eventually what I'm going to pursue with my career. And eventually, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your decisions, right? No one else is going to, and that makes the game even bigger for you to prove, right? So be taking your own decisions and pursuing complex ideas was one of the biggest take for me personally by pursuing engineering.
All right, if we have any more questions for either Johan or Paras, please raise your hands or say, or else we will, we are, is it 11 o'clock now? Yeah. Yeah, we are 8 minutes over. We can close the session, but one more question from anyone.
Well, I don't have a question, but yes, from today's session, listening to all you people and comparing it with my life experiences, you know, the meaning of 4C has completely changed from today onwards for me. In English, we know, 4C means to see ahead or to predict the future, right? But for me, from today onwards, 4C will be, it's a 4C. Yes, the first C would be the communicate. The second would be, once you are done with the communication, then collaborate. The third C would be, now you have a collaboration, construct, and once you have constructed something, comply to it.
Excellent. Very good takeaway. In Singapore, they'll say tao pao. Huh, Manjeet? Any more? Any more questions? Thank you very much. Mayur and Akash, if you are still there, could we see you? And Mayur, do you have a question? No? You're done?
No, actually, I don't have any question. But yes, I just want to ask one thing. Actually, sir, I am shifting into banking sector after few days, and they are offering me two departments. Either I have to choose RPC, Regional Processing Center, where I will be dealing with clearing activities and all deliverable activities, or either I have to choose the Aadhaar section, where I have to deal with Aadhaar. So it's I have to choose one department from both. So what would be the right one?
Akash, you're coming back to one of my points, which I said, make decisions for yourself. Otherwise, somebody else will make it for you. If you ask me and give me the power to make a decision for you, I will say go for regional power processing thing, because it will give you more, interaction within the team to get know a lot of middle offices and a lot of people within your bank and make a lot of connections. So that will happen a lot. The other one seems to be a data entry point, but I'm not entirely sure. I think the best place would be to speak to someone in your organization and get into conversation with them, asking, can I choose once I am inside the organization? I think that will give you a more flexibility. And after speaking to a couple of people and what they are doing, and not only what they are doing, see also that what people who have left that team, what they are doing. So you have to have double integration in terms of in your life. It's not what you are doing right now. You have to see what the other people are doing after they leave that particular department. So that is also a very interesting thing to pursue. And yeah, I think in banking they teach us negotiations a lot. If you're not clear of something, do not make a decision in hasty. Go into that, get a lot of inputs before making a wise decision. So I will say that, speak to your line manager that once you are within the organization, maybe a rotational program for you to be 1 month or 2 months, couple of months in both of these. I mean, you can come up with these ideas because you will be driving it. Nobody else in the corporate will drive it. And one of the corporate gyan is that nobody thinks about you more than you alone do. So right, and that happens to be true for your own career also. So nobody will give it more thought than you will do. So you have to be proactive in terms of what and where your career will be going to be. With me, honestly, it actually does not matter, because both of these options are getting your foot inside the bank, and once you are inside, then you can go anywhere, anywhere and everywhere. I mean, you can even be their CEO one day, and I have no doubt about that.
Absolutely, I second that.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Sunil, would you like to say some parting words? I mean, we're not parting, actually, parting.
Oh, yeah.
Since we have launched the thing, everybody has contributed their time. So, as a chief mentor, I would give the floor to you.
Thank you, Nomita. And I think it was a wonderful start to the program today. I'm sure all the mentees recognized such valuable words from Professor Johan Berger, and also our own community fellow Paris, who's done some exemplary work reaching to the heights in Singapore in an esteemed organization like he's in. So the common thread between what Mr. Johan Berger said and what Paras said is that you have to be on the move. Mr. Johan Berger explained about who moved my cheese. The cheese will keep moving, and you have to keep looking at it, smelling it. And that's what life is all about. Be on the go right from the day you start building your career, chasing your dreams. Things will not come easy, like Paras explained through his own example, his life journey. One step at a time. It's a long journey. Failures will happen, and they will give you more learning. Don't be afraid. Mayur, I think he asked, Devanshu asked, how did you choose Singapore? Take one step at a time. How do you learn swimming? You got to jump into the water, and then slowly you will learn from there. I'm sure Paras had a lot of apprehensions before coming to Singapore. We had. But then you take a decision, I will do it. And then things fall into place. So it's a move that you have to do constantly, building your careers, your lives, one step at a time. Just now Akash asked, which one should I choose in the bank? And Paras answered, jump in, and the world is yours. You will know once you're inside. You will become the CEO. That's how life happens. Be bold, be daring, take your chances. And the people who lose are the ones who don't grab their chances, who don't act. Don't be the ones who don't act. Act. First step. And then act decisively, act intelligently, and smell your cheese all around you, and you will win for sure. I think that's the summary of today's session, in my opinion. And that's most important for you in the initial parts of your career building. So with all those words, all the best to all of us who are in this program, beginning this journey together. Let's rock together. Thank you. Over to you, Nomita.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Johan, for your valuable time. Thank you, Paras, and thank you for my dear, wonderful children. Thank you, Jafar, my right hand, left hand, everything, and my Manjeet sir.
Well, I enjoyed the session very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I would like to ask your permission for the mentors in case all our mentees have any questions or they want to be, they would like to consult you. If I have your permission, I would like to share your contacts with them. That'll be because mentorship is widening the circle, and I would like to be, with your permission, give them the access to your knowledge, your growth, so that once they become big, they mentor others and we make this world a little better than what it is now. And I am very proud of all of you for showing up, sitting through a session. So round of applause for everyone. And with that, I will close this session. We will meet next week again. This will culminate in July. We will have our summit talks, where all of you will have to give a talk for 15 to 20 minutes, similar to TED Talks. And Mr. Berger is going to be the judge. He has seen you today, and he will see you then. This journey has to be life-changing, and let's do it together. All right. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.